Thank you. I'd like to thank the governor, the district attorney, the mayor, and certainly the Department of Fire Services and the State Fire Marshal's Office. It's their support that has helped us through this event. An event which is all too tragic in the light of there hasn't been a fire death in Northampton for well over a decade. Last night, the department was challenged by several incidents, and we met that challenge and responded well. But we did that in the context of responding with several mutual aid partners that helped us prioritize resources. That resulted in a significant saving of property within the city, and it's without them that we really wouldn't have been able to do that. In terms of today and moving forward, the department has certainly been very active. We remain ready to go with a plan in place that will last through tomorrow and well into the future with both the governor and the mayor's support. The Northampton Fire Department is certainly an active member of the newly created task force that's been formed, and I would be remiss by not thanking our people. I know I pulled up on one fire scene last night, and I had a firefighter who was physically down on the ground, totally exhausted, but within 5 minutes was back up and working when there were only 8 people to fight that particular fire. So it's truly our people and the work of our partners and mutual aid communities that made the difference and both kept the community safe last night and will continue to help us keep the community safe today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And finally, let me call on State Fire Marshal Stephen Cohn, who will address you and as part of that give some tips to the community members that they may help us in solving these crimes.
Thank you, Madam District Attorney. I have to say, in all the years that I've served as your State Fire Marshal, I can't think of another series of events so close to each other in regard to the crime of arson. This hit this city very hard last night, and the city was up to the challenge. And the investigative task force that's been put together by the district attorney is up to the challenge that faces us to bring the person or persons responsible for this to justice. The crime of arson is a difficult crime to solve. And many times it's solved by soliciting support from the public. So today we call upon all members of this community to be deputized, to bring forward information to us that hopefully will lead to the conviction of the persons responsible for this. We need the public to be our eyes and ears across this community and to come forward. In that regard, we are today offering a reward up to $5,000 through our statewide arson hotline and arson reward program. We again solicit, as the DA and the mayor have said, information to either the local public authorities or directly to the statewide arson hotline at 1-800-682-9229. This phone is answered 24 hours a day. Information can be given anonymously, and many, many cases of arson are solved through tips that come to that arson hotline. I would ask that all people of the city of Northampton pay a special attention to their property and to their surroundings, and I offer the following tips. First is to keep all doors and windows locked. Keep leaves, firewood, debris, and rubbish away from the exterior of your home. Lock all vehicle doors at night. Keep property, particularly porches, well lit at night. Establish a neighborhood watch program. Communicate with your neighbors. Get to know your neighbors and let them know if your property is going to be vacant for a period of time, such as a vacation. Be watchful for strangers and immediately report any suspicious activity to Northampton Public Safety. And finally, support our efforts. We need you. Support our efforts to apprehend and to prosecute the individual responsible. Again, the arson hotline, 1-800-682-9229. Thank you.
Thank you, Marshal Cohn. We'll now take some questions. I'm just going to ask if we can do them in a logical way.
What's your working idea about motive and whether or not there's more than one suspect, anything like that?
Again, and I think you can appreciate that the investigation is fairly new, it's ongoing, it's very active at this time, and so because of that, I do not want to release any specific information.
What about the fires? Do you know
Again, that's all part of what is being done right now. We have teams at each of the locations, and they're going through that as we speak. So we may have more information at a later date, but not at this time.
Do you think this was random? Are these houses and these cars chosen randomly, or were they targeted? What's your sense about that?
Again, and this is, weighing the balance of protecting the integrity of an investigation versus making sure that the public is informed. That I'm not going to be specific on information at this point. I will say, as has been said by the previous speakers, we're asking every community member to be vigilant in what they see or hear, and to report that no matter how minor they think that information may be, but I will not be specific at this point.
Counselor, this is the first time this has been a fatality with these fires. The residents that we've talked to have said this has been an ongoing problem for even several years. There have been several fires, smaller, suspicious fires. One resident even referred to a town arson as if they knew who it was. Are you taking all this into account, that this, what may have been a smaller problem, has now snowballed into this great tragedy that happened this morning?
I can say, as many of you are aware, that there have been a number of other fires over the course of the last several years. They may or may not be related, and I want to be clear about that. To say they're related at this point would be pure speculation. It is something that we certainly are looking into, and we've begun that part of the investigation as part of the overall investigation.
What was the first fire called in?
Wait a minute.
What was the first fire called in? Do we know?
We do, but we will not
You're not saying.
be specific.
So is that list not chronological?
Will there be a timeline that's released for the media?
It's not. That, by the way, that is not chronological.
Will there be a timeline of events of car structure this time, that time, that we can put out to the public?
Not at this time. I would say that at some point we will release that, but again,
Council, other
too
than telling
early.
folks to lock their cars and not to have debris on their porches, is that because those types of things were targeted, an unlocked car or a bunch of stuff on a porch, or what do you say?
We'll let the fire marshal just address that. We won't, again, be specific about what was involved in the fire, but
I was going to say, I'm sure the DA would not want me to address it specifically, but in a general sense, the tips that I have given are proven tips to keep property safe, and in doing so, lessens the enticement or the opportunity of an arsonist in a neighborhood. So we know we had vehicle fires. It's prudent to keep vehicles locked. We know we had fires in buildings. It's prudent to keep doors locked. We know that debris in and around the home is an opportunity for fire to start. So all of those are answers in a general sense. And one that I forgot, and I would ask all of us to remember, is the most important is the early escape that comes from operating smoke alarms. And it's extremely important that people in this community and all across the state take a moment and make sure that they have operating smoke alarms.
Is there a smoke alarm in that home?
again, as I said a moment ago, you'll understand that I am not releasing any more information at this point relative to what may or may not have been the cause, what else was going on.
Not even whether there was a smoke alarm in that home. I mean, something got out of that home. That would jeopardize the investigation. We can say whether
I think I can say I think I can say that there was a smoke alarm and it did go off. Is that correct?
For the tipsters that might want to call in, are you looking for somebody that was on foot, or has there been any description of anyone called in that you can relate to us that might tip somebody's memory? Or
I would just ask if anyone observed anything or heard anything, no matter how minor that person might feel it is, that information is, to pass it along to the number